What if you could become a better person? Not by working harder, but by taking one doable step a day. And not because you're a bad person now, but because there's something inside you that's ready for more. How to Be a Better Person walks you through 1 year of those tiny steps. 365 small but mighty tools you can use in the next 24 hours to make a difference in yourself and the world. My mission? To help you live your best life. Hello and welcome to How to Be a Better Person. I'm Kate, your host. Today's Monday. Happy Monday! That means we're talking about one way to be a better person in your own mind. And that way is to start training yourself to look for the loving reason why something has happened. When I say loving reason, I mean an explanation that suggests that things are working out the way they are because of a good reason, even when it might seem like they're falling apart. I suppose this gets a little woo-woo, so I hope you can go there with me. I'm basically asking you to try on the idea that life is happening for you instead of to you. Before we go any further, I want to talk about why being able to trust that things are actually working out relates to being a better person. First, it helps you stay out of victim mode. And victim mode is when you take things personally and feel hopeless and get disempowered. It's very hard to operate from the bigger version of yourself when you're feeling disempowered. Looking for the loving reason helps you focus on the opportunity in whatever is happening. It helps you remember to be grateful for what you do have instead of upset about your bad luck. It helps you keep going and not get worn down when things don't go your way. I'm not saying you have to get psyched about bad things that happen. There are some legitimately terrible things happening in the world at any given moment. And it is not easy to reckon with these things, Lord knows. But if you go and read the news and decide the sky is falling, you're going to go into defensive, hunker-down mode, when what the world needs is to get us through tough times is people who care enough to do something. Let's take the Me Too movement. When that was taking up every headline, it was easy to think that women in the workplace were just doomed to be harassed or worse by male colleagues and bosses. It was also completely normal and understandable if reading those stories brought up a lot of big emotions like anger and fear, grief. I'm not saying that by looking for the loving reason that you should somehow be able to circumvent those kinds of feelings. You are absolutely free to feel how you feel. Looking for the loving reason is more about challenging yourself to think in new ways, which can ultimately impact how you feel. Looking for the loving reason lets you see the Me Too movement as a bunch of ugly, hidden stuff coming to light, about hopefully a shift in power dynamics between men and women, and about women seeing that their voices do have power. I wrote a blog post about an example from my own life where I found the loving reason for what seemed to be a really shitty situation, and I share the URL for it in the summary of this episode. What I want to do now is go through a couple of examples of real-world situations and the loving reason versus the crappy reason for them. I hope they help you think differently about your current or future tough spots. So example number 1. You've just gotten a little bit of extra money, finally, and the pipes burst in your basement. Now, if you weren't looking for the loving reason and you were just kind of thinking, well, why could this possibly be happening? You might be telling yourself, see, as soon as I get money, it goes right out the door. Well, the loving reason is this minor disaster happened at just the right time because I had the money ready to spend, and there's more where that came from. Here's another example. The job or the client you wanted to work with that you didn't get the project for or you didn't get hired. The mean reason for that you might tell yourself is something like, oh, I'm not good enough and there aren't enough opportunities to go around and I'm doomed. The loving reason would be, there was some reason why that job or client wasn't a good fit. I might not be able to see it right now, but I trust that it's there. Also, I'm open for the next thing that's just as good or even better. Let's say you've got a major injury or illness that you're currently dealing with. If you weren't looking for the loving reason, your thoughts might sound something like, oh, I'm doomed, I'm unlucky, I'm being punished, I'm stupid. Take your pick. A loving reason for a major injury or illness is, this situation is the perfect opportunity to learn something I wouldn't have gotten otherwise, something I'm going to need to get to where I want to go, whether it's in this life or the next. Okay? Sometimes looking for the loving reason that makes you take a really, 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 really big picture view. Maybe you had a fight with your boss or your partner or your spouse, And you could be thinking to yourself, if you weren't looking for the loving reason, oh, I'm stupid, or he or she is just a jerk. I'm stuck in this awful job, or I'm stuck in this marriage. I've got no way out. What am I going to do? And the loving reason would be, the loving way to look at it is, how did I contribute to this situation? Is this a nudge to either improve my communication skills, have a difficult conversation, or look for a different job, or consider changing my marital status? I'm open to seeing the opportunities here. You could even look for the loving reason behind a car accident. If you weren't, you might be thinking things along the lines of, I'm stupid, I need to be more vigilant. It was totally the other driver's fault, and it stinks that I now have to deal with this. I can't possibly pay enough attention as I need to stay safe. Whereas a loving reason would be, at some point, we're all going to bump into one another. I forgive myself for being one of the bumpies this time around. What could this situation be here to show me? What do I need to do to feel good about being in a car again? At some point, everything breaks and needs repair. How is this a good time for me to tend to my means of getting around? So those are some examples, but now take a moment and think about something that's happening in your own life that's challenging you. And then what could be some loving reasons or loving ways to think about this? Sometimes you may not be able to find a loving reason, and then your reason might be, I'm just going to trust that there is some good that's coming out of this, even though I can't imagine what the heck it might be at this moment. Even that will help you shift into a more proactive, empowered, and open-hearted stance. Whatever it is that's challenging you, I know you've got this, and looking for the loving reason can help. That's it for today. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to How to Be a Better Person. If you liked what you heard, share it with someone you think would like it too. Your voice matters. Come sign up for the weekly newsletter that includes a link to every episode from the previous week so you can catch up on anything you missed. You can do that at beabetterpersonpodcast.com. I also love to hear from listeners. Seriously, I love it. Send me an email by clicking on the Contact Kate button at beabetterpersonpodcast.com, or you can tweet me at Kate Han, Katehan, or find me on Instagram at Kate Hanley Author. I look forward to connecting with you.